Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the softball field at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call, and on this dreary day here in Milford, we continue our coverage of the 2017 MIAA playoff tournament this afternoon. It is more action in the Division I South softball bracket as the number 2 seeded Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks welcome in the number 10 seeded Norwood Lady Mustangs in the quarterfinal round. Milford got their playoff run started last Friday night in a game here at Milford High School as they took on Plymouth North, the number 13 seed in the Division I South bracket. There was a little bit of a question going into the game as to whether Milford would have to kick off some rust after a very long layoff from the end of their regular season to the start of their playoff run, but those thoughts were quickly put to rest as Allie Atherton completed a lightning-quick 1-2-3 top of the first inning, and then the Milford offense went right to work against the pitching staff for Plymouth North, posting 5 runs in the first inning. Those would be the only runs they would end up needing on the day. They ended up tacking on 3 additional insurance runs as the game went on, and when the dust settled, it was an easy 8-0 victory for Milford. They eliminated Plymouth North, and they advance once again to the quarterfinal round. This has been a spot Milford has made their way into for each of the previous 2 seasons. The difference this time is the opponent. Milford not forced to travel to Silver Lake for the quarterfinal round this year as they had done the previous 2 seasons. Instead, it is another home playoff game for the Lady Hawks as the 2-seeded Milford takes on the number 10 seeded Norwood Lady Mustangs. And as for Norwood, it has been quite a trip through the playoffs so far for the Lady Mustangs. They were forced to play a preliminary round playoff game. They did have a chance to host that game as they took on another Hockomock League team in the Stoughton Lady Knights. That was an epic game, as it turned out, in which Norwood needed extra innings to finally come through with a 6-5 win, eliminating Stoughton from the playoffs. And that ended up pushing Norwood to a first-round matchup with one of their division opponents. Norwood operating out of the Bay State Conference in the Herget League, in the Herget division of the Bay State Conference, I should say. And in the first round of the playoffs, they matched up with one of their division rivals in Walpole. Norwood had won the Herget division of the Bay State Conference for each of the previous 4 seasons, but Walpole was able to unseat them this year, taking that top spot, and those 2 teams met up in the previous round, and Walpole was not able to defend that division title as Norwood ended up getting the last laugh. It was quite an offensive slugfest in that game. Each team posted 5 runs in their portion of the 5th inning. Both teams ended up with double digits by the end of the night, but ultimately it was Norwood who was able to come away with a 13-10 win. So again, if you liked offense, that was the game for you. Norwood and Walpole duking it out back and forth, but some clutch hits in the late innings of that game. 2 of the top offensive players for this Norwood team really flexing their muscles. Siobhan Reen and also Bryn Garzinski providing a lot of the offense in that game. Also a late contribution in the 7th inning by Janelle Kelleher to give Norwood some insurance in the late innings of that game. Amanda Olbrees got the start in the circle. She ended up allowing all 10 of those runs to Norwood, but just 3 of those runs were earned. There was a lot of sloppy defense on both sides, but in particular Norwood committing 5 errors in that first round game against Walpole, but they were able to escape with the victory, their offense bailing them out in the end. So it's already been 2 games in the books in the playoffs for Norwood. And now they enter here into the home of the Lady Scarlet Hawks, hoping to continue things going. We've seen some very interesting upsets in the playoffs so far in this postseason run. We mentioned it a little bit if you were tuned into our broadcast for Milford's win against Plymouth North. A lot of the heavy-hitting teams ended up on the left-hand side of the bracket, the opposite side of the bracket as the Lady Scarlet Hawks, and we have seen many of those top teams go down, including some heavy-hitting Hockomock League teams. Taunton upset from the playoffs, defeated by fellow Hockomock League team North Attleboro in an earlier round, so Taunton out of the playoffs. Bishop Feehan also out of the playoffs, a surprising exit for the number 8 seed. And King Philip, the defending Division I state champions, they matched up in a rematch of last season's Division I South championship game against Silver Lake in round one, and it was Silver Lake who was able to come away with the victory, so King Philip has also been eliminated from the playoffs. So seeds 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all out of the postseason tournament. The top 4 seeds remain. Silver Lake, Milford, Hopkinton, and Marshfield are all still in. Also Norwood, Somerset, Berkeley, and North Attleboro. The final team standing as we enter into quarterfinal round competition. So it has been an exciting tournament so far, and we expect it to be more excitement here today, as again these two teams will be battling each other. They will also be battling some inclement weather as well. As you can see, overcast skies. There has been frequent drizzle throughout the game, hoping to get this one in uninterrupted. And as you can see now, pregame festivities underway out on the field as Norwood is being introduced. So we will give you that full starting lineup now here on the broadcast. The starting lineup for Norwood, leading it off, is the catcher, Bryn Gerzinski. Emma Maturo, the left fielder, bats second, with Siobhan Reen, the shortstop, batting third. Jane Kelleher is the cleanup hitter, playing first base, with Addie Hodson, the designated player, batting fifth. Kate Mulligan plays right field and bats sixth, with Amanda Olbrees, the starting pitcher, in the lineup, batting seventh. Erin Murphy is the second baseman, batting eighth, and in the ninth spot, playing third base, is Delia Bartuka. And for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks, their lineup looks like this. It is the same exact lineup that earned them a victory in round one. Kate Irwin leads it off and is the center fielder. And as Milford has their introductions out on the field, we will do them as well. Emily Pierre Gustavo batting second. She is the shortstop in the game today. Batting third, one of Milford's senior captains, the left fielder, Maggie Farrell. And batting cleanup in the game today, coming off of a monstrous opening round playoff performance, Jess Tomaso, the first baseman in that cleanup spot. She will be followed by senior captain and third baseman Caitlin DeCapua. In the sixth spot will be the sophomore, the starting catcher, Emily Hartman. Batting eighth will be the second baseman, Maddie Bonvino. And in the ninth spot for the Lady Scarlet Hawks will be the right fielder, Shannon Cormier. Kelly Reichert batting seventh as the designated player. I do believe I omitted her from that starting lineup as we watch the lineups take place out here in real time as we give them here on air. So that bottom third of the lineup, Reichert in as the designated player, Bonvino as the second baseman, and Shannon Cormier batting ninth. She is the right fielder. So it is the exact same starting lineup for the Lady Scarlet Hawks that we saw back on Friday afternoon against Plymouth North, and it will be the same starting pitcher in the circle as the senior captain, Allie Atherton, will make her second playoff start of 2017, opposed by Amanda Olbrees on the Norwood side. So those are your lineups. We are expecting a live performance of the Star Spangled Banner here at field level, so we will step aside very briefly. And again, we want to welcome in all of our live viewers for this playoff game this afternoon. An opportunity to watch this game under cover indoors, hopefully, if you're checking out this game on live stream or on milfordtv.net. Better to be inside than to be outside on a day like today. So we welcome you into the coverage. An exciting quarterfinal round matchup about to get underway. Milford against Norwood, and we will have the first pitch when we come back next here on Milford TV.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave
Another excellent rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, and it is time for playoff softball to get underway here in Milford. Again, it is the number 2 seeded Scarlet Hawks taking on the number 10 seeded Norwood Lady Mustangs. The two sets of captains will now meet around home plate, along with the 2-man officiating crew for the game here today. The head coach for the Norwood Lady Mustangs is Carol Savino. And, of course, head coach Steve DeVito preparing for yet another playoff game for this Milford team. Coming into this playoff run with very lofty expectations, but living up to that billing in the opening round with that 8-0 victory over the Plymouth North Lady Blue Eagles. And not messing with anything was Coach DeVito, sending the exact same lineup out there, and Allie Atherton will get the start as well after having the opportunity to rest up over the course of the weekend. And, of course, this trio of senior captains for Milford graduating just about 24 hours ago. Allie Atherton, Maggie Farrell, and Caitlin DeCapua, along with the rest of the class of 2017, graduating just a few steps behind us out on the football field, with graduation ceremonies taking place yesterday here at Milford High School. So congratulations to all of the members of the MHS class of 2017, and in particular for Allie Atherton, Maggie Farrell, and Caitlin DeCapua. Terrific graduation ceremonies once again, which of course you can watch in their entirety on Milford TV's educational channel. We'll also have the full graduation ceremonies up on YouTube as well. So if you did not have a chance to watch it yesterday, you'll have an opportunity to see it courtesy of Milford TV, and more live coverage here this afternoon for this playoff softball game. And we should point out that we've once again split up our sports coverage crew, as the Milford Scarlet Hawks baseball team is also in playoff action today. There are not a whole lot of playoff games going on around the MIAA tournament today, as the weather is not great. A lot of teams opting to postpone their games for the day, but Milford softball getting this game in this afternoon, and the Scarlet Hawks baseball team also getting their playoff game in as they travel down to New Bedford to take on Greater New Bedford Vocational Technical School. Milford coming off of a thrilling 9-inning extra inning victory over Stoughton on the road back on Friday. And we were very happy to have Anthony Mazzini and Tim Rossetti, a pair of Milford High School graduates, cover the game last Friday in Stoughton. That game will be available to watch in its entirety on YouTube as of today. So you have a chance to check out that game. We'll have it, of course, running on the educational channel as well. And Anthony and Tim once again on the road covering the quarterfinal round for the Division II South baseball bracket. Milford and Greater New Bedford Voc, they're set to get underway at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So a little over a half an hour away. And as we continue with the live coverage here this afternoon, we will get you updates on that game once it gets going. We expect to get some frequent updates over the course of the game, so for as long as we're on the air streaming this game live, we will feed you those updates as well. And best of luck once again to the Scarlet Hawks baseball team. An improbable victory in round 1, and they hope to keep that going. We anticipate that Aiden Wild will get the start in that game. So again, best of luck to the baseball team, but now all eyes on the softball field. The Lady Scarlet Hawks now take the field and get ready to once again defend their home turf. As these playoffs go on, eventually the games will enter into neutral site territory, which we learned from Coach DeVito will be Taunton High School. And of course, the Taunton High School softball team, an opportunity perhaps to enjoy home field advantage in those late round neutral site games, but not to be, as they were upset by North Attleboro in the previous round. That was quite an exciting game as it turned out. North Attleboro with a very gutsy performance. Their freshman starter, Bella Erdy, able to hold the powerful Taunton lineup in check, and North able to scratch across some runs when it counted. So a very intriguing Hockomock League matchup in the playoffs, and North Attleboro able to eliminate Taunton from the playoffs. So another top team goes down. But as we mentioned, the top 4 seeds continue to remain very much alive in this tournament. Silver Lake and Milford, the 1 and 2 seeds. And so warm-up toss is concluding on the field. just moments away from getting this game going. And we should say Hopkinton and Marshfield are the 3-4 seeds, just to finish off that point. So Silver Lake, Milford, Hopkinton, and Marshfield all still alive in the tournament. Silver Lake is the only team that has already advanced to the semifinal round. They await an opponent. Will see a first round matchup, the final first round matchup, take place this afternoon if that game is able to get in between the inclement weather. Marshfield against Mansfield. And the winner of that game will move on to face North Attleboro in a quarterfinal matchup on the other side of the bracket, and then Hopkinton and Somerset Berkeley in the other quarterfinal matchup on Milford's side of the bracket. But Milford ready to get their quarterfinal game underway as Allie Atherton fires in a first pitch strike as Norwood brings Bryn Garzinski, Emma Maturo, and Siobhan Reen to the plate in the top of the first inning. Two powerful offenses clashing here in the quarterfinals as this ball is floated to second base over the outstretched glove of Maddie Bonvino, and Garzinski reaches. Allie Atherton was so dominant in her performance against Plymouth North back on Friday. She ended up going 6 innings, allowed just 3 hits in the game. She had 4 strikeouts. She did not walk a batter, but allowing a leadoff single here as that ball just drifted over the glove of Bonvino at second base. Norwood with the leadoff batter on, and plenty of chatter coming out of the first base dugout. As now Emma Maturo, the left fielder, stands in on the left side. Takes a look at strike one. Defensively for Milford, the same alignment as usual. Hartman behind the plate, DeCapua at third, Pierre Gustavo at short, Bonvino at second, and Tomaso at first. Left to right in the outfield, Farrell, Irwin, and Cormier. DeCapua cheating in at third. The runner takes off. The ball is bunted down the line, and that is a foul ball and a heads-up veteran play for Caitlin DeCapua. She knew that was going to be a tough play to even get the out at first, so she let that ball roll. And as soon as it traveled fully into foul territory, she picks it up. And that forces Maturo back into the batter's box with a no-ball, 2-strike count. They had Garzinski on the move. We'll see if they put the same play on once again with the 0-2 count. The runner holds this time as the pitch is outside. Atherton trying to get Maturo to chase. A 1-ball, 2-strike count now to Allie Atherton. And that ball popped foul and out of play. Atherton on the season now, her ERA .95 after those 6 shutout innings in the opening round of the playoffs. A .81 whip. Opponents batting .191 against Atherton. Sends in another 1-2 pitch, and that's on the outside edge for a called strike 3. There's the first strikeout for Atherton. And you absolutely have to think that field conditions and weather conditions are going to be a factor as this game goes on. A mist blowing across the field. It's been a very light mist coming down, but there is precipitation. As the runner takes off, the throw down to second base drifts towards the second base side of the bag. The pitch was a ball, and the steal for Garzinski puts the Norwood catcher into scoring position with 1 down. They tried for the sacrifice bunt with Maturo at the plate, and now with 1 out, they give the straight steal. Norwood aggressive, trying to put an early run on the board. And now a bunt attempt by Siobhan Reen. She offers at it and misses. Surprising to see Reen bunting, as she is the leading hitter on this team. According to some of the stats we had a chance to see on one of the newspaper websites, a .632 average for Reen through the regular season with 21 runs batted in. Takes a pitch outside for ball 2 there. Also with 5 home runs on the season. Reen and Garzinski have been the heart and soul of this offense. Garzinski is the runner at second base. 2-1 pitch now from Atherton. That's outside. It gets away from Hartman, and that allows Garzinski to move up to third base. Much different conditions for Allie Atherton to deal with in the pitcher circle here today than what she experienced on Friday. Pretty much ideal weather conditions a couple of days ago against Plymouth North. Very far from ideal for this game here this afternoon. Ready now with a 3-1 pitch, and that's in for a strike. Temperatures in the low 50s right now, but the breeze and the damp conditions making it feel much cooler than that. This feeling like an early April game, not a game taking place on the 5th of June. Here's the payoff pitch now, and this is sent on the ground to second base. A bobble from Bonvino. She throws to first. The runner is safe, and in from third base comes Garzinski. And that allows Norwood to take a 1-0 lead. The runner would have scored regardless, but Norwood gets the bonus as Bonvino bobbles that ball at second. And that allows Reen to reach at first base. That should go as a straight E4. So Milford not allowing a single run against Plymouth North on Friday. They allow a run here in the first inning. And no doubt a damp softball for Bonvino to field at second base. No doubt playing a role. Milford also played error-free softball on Friday, but now an error here charged to Maddie Bonvino at second base. Reen now the lone runner on the bases for Norwood at first after Garzinski came in to score. Janelle Kelleher, the right-handed batter at the plate. She sends the bunt out in front of the plate. It's pounced on by Hartman. They get the out there. Now the runner trying to take third, and she is safe at third base. And now a conversation to take place between Coach DeVito and the home plate umpire. Aggressive base running for Siobhan Reen, trying to go first to third on the bunt attempt. It was a bang-bang play at third base. The throw came towards the home plate side of third, forcing the stretch back towards the bag, and that may have been just enough for Reen to be safe in at third base. Nearly a double play to end the inning. And then there was also the question as to whether Reen maintained contact on the slide as she came around the third base bag. But she will remain there safely at third with now 2 down, and first pitch swinging Addie Hodson, the designated player, sends that ball foul off the backstop. So that should go in the books as a sacrifice bunt for Jane Kelleher. And she ends up advancing the runner all the way to third with 2 outs, and Atherton trying to bring an end to this inning with Addie Hodson at the plate. And that ball fouled away, and she's 1 strike away from ending the inning. Very interesting to see the Norwood strategy here in the top of the first inning with their number 3 and number 4 hitters showing bunt. Knowing that this will in all likelihood not be the slugfest that they participated in against Walpole a couple of days ago. Trying to scratch a few runs across if they can. The 0-2 pitch misses low and outside. Milford trailing for the first time in this 2017 playoff run. A 1-0 Norwood lead. They're looking for more with that runner at third base. A 1-2 pitch now in from Atherton, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. That will bring an end to the inning. But Norwood able to do a little bit of damage. They scratch a run across with the error at second base helping along the way. So Norwood strikes first. They take a 1-0 lead. The Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks will take their first swings of this quarterfinal round when we come back next here on Milford TV. Milford comes to the plate for the first time, trailing by a score of 1-0. An unearned run for Norwood in the top of the first. And it will be now Kate Irwin, Emily Pierre-Gustavo, and Maggie Farrell to the plate against Amanda Olbrees. And Olbrees' first pitch misses for ball one. A very up and down performance for Olbrees in that first round win against Walpole as she fires in a strike, allowing 10 runs over the course of the game, but let down by her defense at times with all but 3 of those runs unearned as Irwin takes a cut at that pitch and fouls it up over the third base dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on the Milford leadoff batter. Here's the pitch, and it's grounded right to the third baseman. A quick reaction from Delia Bartuca, and she's able to fire in time to get Irwin at first base. Five to 3 on the ground out, and that's good scouting from Norwood, knowing they have to play in tight on the corners. With the speed of Irwin, they stay in tight now as Emily Pierre-Gustavo stands in. Emily with the batting average at .582 coming into the playoff game today. Had just 1 hit in the win on Friday, but now she sends one into the gap in left center field. It's all the way to the fence. Extra bases for Emily. She will cruise into second with a 1-out double. You cannot expect to keep Emily Pierre-Gustavo down for long. She did come away with a first inning single as part of the 5-run first inning rally for Milford against Plymouth North back on Friday, but was held in check from there. Able to hopefully spark something for Milford here in the bottom of the first with that 1-out double. As ball 1 is issued to Maggie Farrell. Farrell takes a swing and fouls that one off towards the Milford football field. Farrell with a big 2-run double to open up the scoring in the first inning for Milford against Plymouth North. Ended up going 2 for 4 as now she lifts this ball out to left field, now towards the line, and Emma Maturo able to hold on to it. A little unsure on the footing as she traveled over towards that line. Of course, a bit of a swirling breeze here in Milford too, making life difficult on fly balls. But Norwood able to make the play, now 2 down in the inning, and Milford will look for something out of Jess Tomaso, who takes a called strike 1. Milford with the tying run in scoring position. And now that pitch up and in. Defensively for Norwood, it is Bryn Garzinski behind the plate, Delia Bartuca at third, Siobhan Reen at short, Erin Murphy at second, and Janelle Kelleher at first. Left to right in the outfield, Emma Maturo. Caitlin Shaughnessy flexed out of the lineup, only playing defensively. She is in center field, and Kate Mulligan is in right. The captains for Norwood are Siobhan Reen, Kathleen Mulligan, and Caitlin Shaughnessy. As now this ball is sent out to center field. It's down for a hit, and around from second base to score is Pierre-Gustavo as Tomaso ends up at second base, and this game is tied at 1. So Tomaso comes through with another RBI in these playoffs. It's her 4th now in the last 2 games. Milford able to get something done with 2 outs. Pierre-Gustavo coming around to score the tying run, and now Milford with the go-ahead run in scoring position ahead of Caitlin DeCapua, who takes a look at a pitch up and away for ball 1. And now DeCapua sending this one out to center field, but on the move, Caitlin Shaughnessy able to make the catch, only in there for defense. And it pays off as she makes the catch, heading towards that right center field gap for the out that ends the inning, but Milford does get the equalizer. And after an inning of play, it is Milford 1 and Norwood 1 on coverage of Milford High School softball in the MIAA tournament here on Milford TV. Top of the second inning now in Milford, where Norwood will send batters 6, 7, and 8 to the plate. Kate Mulligan will lead it off. Atherton only allowing one hit in the first inning, a leadoff bloop single. But that runner coming around to score after a stolen base. And also an error involved in the inning as well. But Milford able to tie it up with an RBI out of Jess Tomaso with 2 outs. Now an 0-1 pitch to Mulligan. It's hit once again to second base, fielded cleanly this time by Maddie Bonvino. And she's able to get the first out of this second inning. 4-3 on the grounder. We expect baseball playoff action to get underway down in New Bedford in less than 15 minutes. We will keep you updated on the progress of that game for as long as we're on the air. In the meantime, Amanda Olbrees, the starting pitcher for Norwood, a wave and a miss for strike one to open her at bat. Pitcher versus pitcher with one down in the top of the second. And it's slowly rolled to the right of the pitcher circle, and Allie Atherton, fielding her position well, is able to get out number 2. Olbrees retired 1-3. It's 2 up and 2 down, and Atherton now with a chance for a quick inning as she gets set to deal with the number 8 hitter, second baseman Erin Murphy. Still plenty of spectators taking in this playoff game regardless of the less than ideal weather conditions, as this ball is hit right square to the backstop. That first pitch strike to Murphy. And Atherton taking a little extra time in between pitches, rubs that softball dry on her pant leg before sending in the next pitch, which is upstairs. Getting a good clean handle on the ball is going to be so important for these pitchers as the game goes on. A light mist continuing to fall. Here's the 1-1 pitch now, and it's sent hard and foul down the first base line. One ball and 2 strikes now on Murphy as Atherton looks to end it right here. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the base is empty. Murphy awaits another pitch. Here it comes, and it's outside. So a 2-ball, 2-strike count now as Murphy makes Atherton work here. Should she reach, the number 9 hitter, Delia Bartuca, would be next. Here is the 2-2 pitch, and it's on the inside edge for strike 3. There's the 3rd strikeout of the game for Allie Atherton, and it finishes up a nice quick 1-2-3, top of the second inning. It is still a 1-1 tie as we head to the bottom of the second inning when we come back on this coverage of the 2017 MIAA Playoff Tournament, brought to you right here on Milford TV. The wind now howling here at field level as we get set to begin the bottom half of the second inning. Not at all the conditions that you would expect for a June playoff game. But both of these teams trying to fight through. Again, as we mentioned, if you were listening during our pregame open, Many playoff games were postponed today. A lot of schools not wanting to chance the weather. It's not going to be much better tomorrow. So Athletic Director Peter Boucher electing to keep this game on as scheduled, and so far the conditions have at least been playable. The Milford Parks Department also here working hard, making sure the infield was as clean as possible for this game, as the 1-1 pitch into the leadoff batter of this second inning, Emily Hartman, is fouled away. It will be Hartman, Reichert, and Bonvino due up against Amanda Olbrees, who allowed a run on 2 hits in the first inning, as Hartman now pops this ball up. It'll stay on the infield as the shortstop, Siobhan Reen, takes charge and collects out number 1. Hartman in the game on Friday did not have a hit. Kelly Reichert taking a look at ball 1. Hartman did work a walk in the game against Plymouth North. Helped Milford score one of their 8 runs. Big cut that time from Reichert. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. As Olbrees works quickly, this ball popped up on the infield yet again. The first baseman settling underneath, Janelle Kelleher, makes the catch. And a couple of harmless pop-outs bring the first 2 outs at the bottom of the second. And that brings up Maddie Bonvino. Maddie capped off the 5-run rally that Milford enjoyed in the first inning against Plymouth North with a 2-run single. And here she jumps ahead of the count against Olbrees, 2 balls and no strikes. And now a called strike. Norwood finishing in second place in the Herget division of the Bay State Conference. Trailing only Walpole, but they were able to exact their revenge on the Lady Rebels with a first-round victory. Dedham, Natick, Wellesley, and Milton also a part of the Herget division in the Bay State Conference. Here's the 3-1 pitch now to Bonvino, and it's high for ball 4. So that walk denies Olbrees the 1-2-3 inning. For Maddie Bonvino, that is now her 14th walk on the season. Keeps things going now for Shannon Cormier. Shannon went 1 for 3 in the win against Plymouth North on Friday. Hard breeze blowing from left to right across the Milford softball field right now. That ball fouled down the left field line and out of play, and Cormier now down in the count, 0-2. Feeling much more like football weather than softball weather here on this Monday afternoon. No balls and 2 strikes on Cormier with Bonvino at first. Here's the pitch, and it's up and away. No chase out of Shannon. Kate Irwin in the top of the Milford order waiting on deck. The next pitch from Olbrees is inside. Bonvino taking off for second. The throw ends up out into center field, but it's backed up by Caitlin Shaughnessy, the center fielder. No further advance. But Bonvino gets the stolen base. So again, Milford has the go-ahead run at second base. And from an 0-2 count, it's now even at 2-2. That ball is low. A full count now on the number 9 hitter in the Milford lineup. Here's the payoff pitch. And it's tapped over towards shortstop. They can't get the tag down on the base paths, and everyone is going to be safe. Bonvino was off on contact, and as she came across in front of Siobhan Reen, it diverted her attention. She tried to swipe the tag, could not get it, and by the time she released the throw to first, it was not in time. So Cormier safe on the fielder's choice. Bonvino now at third, runners at the corners for Kate Irwin. And she takes a called strike on the outside part of the plate. Kate grounded out to third base her first time up. Overall on the season, Irwin batting .452. It's 14 runs batted in. Batting with the potential go-ahead run at third base, ever so close. Coach DeVito going through the signs over at the third base coaches area. Irwin watching attentively now, steps back in the box and taps this one. It is a dead ball. That one rolling out in front of the plate, but ruled a dead ball by the home plate ump. And it's now a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Irwin a deep breath before jumping back into the left side batter's box. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it's low. Cormier takes off for second base. There will be no throw. As Garzinski keeps a watchful eye on Maddie Bonvino at third base, so an uncontested steal for Cormier now puts 2 in scoring position. And a 2-2 pitch to Irwin is sent right back to the circle. It clanks off the arm of the pitcher Olbrys. Irwin is safe at first base, and in from third comes Bonvino with the go-ahead run. So we've talked about it already, the defensive issues that Norwood faced in their game against Walpole in round 1. 5 errors for the Lady Mustangs, and now that ball misplayed. A tapper right back to the circle. That should have been an easy out number 3, but Amanda Olbrys could not field it. And that allows Milford to take a 2-1 lead. Can't imagine they would rule a hit on the play. It should be a straight E1, so now each side has committed an error in this quarterfinal round game. On the play, Shannon Cormier moved up to third base. So Milford with runners at first and third now for Emily Pierre Gustavo as that ball bounces in front of the plate. We'll see if Irwin is in motion here. She holds, and again the ball comes in shy of the plate. A couple of bouncers out of the hand of Olbrys, so you have to wonder if maybe that contact off the pitching arm has hurt Olbrys here at all. She's able to get it all the way to the catcher's mitt that time for a called strike. Here's the 2-1 offering, and that one is a little bit high. Not missing by much, but it goes as ball 3. Pierre Gustavo can be selective here. Here's the pitch, and it misses outside for ball 4. Cormier bluffing a bit on third base. She might have thought the bases were loaded. She has a smile on her face now as she talks to Coach DeVito. Able to get back into the bag on the walk to Emily Pierre Gustavo, loading the bases for Maggie Farrell. And we know this is a situation that Maggie thrives in. And she swings at this ball, sends it deep out to right field, back towards the fence, and that ball is gone. A grand slam home run for the captain, Maggie Farrell. 4 quick runs on the scoreboard as Milford takes a 6-1 lead. Wasting absolutely no time, first pitch swinging. And Maggie Farrell once again flourishes in key situations, sending the first pitch over the right field fence for a grand slam. And just like that, Milford opens up a 6-1 lead. And suddenly these Milford fans don't feel quite so cold anymore. Plenty of blood pumping amongst the Scarlet Hawks fans. The error in the pitcher's circle absolutely glaring at this point. Jess Tomaso now steps to the plate with the bases empty after the grand slam. And she hits this one hard past the dive of Siobhan Reen at short. That scoots into the gap and will be extra bases for Tomaso into second with a double. And Milford has settled into a groove now. Back-to-back extra base hits, as now they will send their 9th batter to the plate in the second inning. Caitlin DeCapua looking to keep the momentum rolling on Milford's side. DeCapua ended the first inning with a hard liner to center field. Took a great play from Caitlin Shaughnessy to track it down. A 2-ball, no strike count now on the captain and third baseman. Here's the pitch. Looped foul out of play. Now all of the noise coming out of the Milford dugout, as Caitlin sends this one out to shallow right field. That touches down for a hit. No problem for Tomaso to come around to score as she was off on contact. DeCapua, a bloop single to right, will make it a 7-1 Lady Hawks lead. Really nothing Norwood could do about it, with Kate Mulligan playing deep out in right field. The second baseman traveling out onto the outfield grass, but that one falling for a hit, and Tomaso, who was off on the crack of the bat, was able to score without a throw. And now a conversation taking place in the pitcher's circle between head coach Carol Savino and the entire Norwood infield. As always, we refer to the official scoring of the Milford softball website, which I believe is maintained by Tim Walsh. And also Coach DeVito playing a key role in the maintenance of those team stats as well. So we will see after the fact if they did indeed rule the straight error on Olbrees in the circle. If so, that would likely make all 6 of these runs unearned. That error taking place with 2 outs in the inning, all runs scored after that would be unearned. So Olbrees giving up 7 unearned runs in the game against Walpole, now giving up 6 unearned runs here in the second inning against Milford, as it's now a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Emily Hartman, who led off this inning by popping out to shortstop. The first 2 batters of this inning were retired on weak contact on the infield. A pop-up to the shortstop for Hartman, followed by a pop-up to first base for Reichert. It looked like it was going to be an easy inning for Olbrees. It has been anything but. A 1-ball, 2-strike count now. Here's the pitch, and this is hit high in the air out to right center field, and that is over the glove of Shaughnessy. Down for a hit. Around from third base comes DeCapua. Hartman keeps on going. She will end up at third base with an RBI triple. So it is now an 8-1 lead for Milford. Antonia Bonina now out at third base. And Emily Hartman, who is one of the more spirited, emotional players in this lineup, gets pumped as she heads back to the dugout after Bonina replaces her on the bases. Hartman's hit making it an 8-1 Milford lead. And they look for more as Kelly Reichert steps in for her second at-bat of this second inning. The 11th batter to now come to the plate. As the chilly breeze continues to blow, the first pitch to Reichert is hit on the ground to shortstop. It's off the glove of Reen, out into left. Bonina scores. And Reichert keeps it going as Milford will now take a 9-1 lead. So now an E6. The second Norwood error of this lengthy bottom of the second inning. As now the pitch comes in high, a bluff throw from Garzinski behind the plate. Norwood battling the emotions as this inning has really gotten away from them. As that pitch misses for ball 2, Maddie Bonvino got this whole thing started with a 2-out walk. Came around to score on the Maggie Farrell grand slam. Two balls and a strike now on Maddie. Also had a stolen base after that walk. I beg your pardon, Maddie Bonvino scoring on the error in the pitcher circle by Olbrees, which gave Milford a 2-1 lead and ended up keeping things going, eventually leading to the Maggie Farrell grand slam. Two balls and two strikes now. Here's the pitch, and Bonvino lifts this pitch out to left field. That's deep, that's back to the fence. It stays in the yard, but will be extra bases. They'll wave Kelly Reichert around from first. She will score without a throw, an RBI double for Maddie Bonvino. And into double digits now go the Lady Scarlet Hawks. And as this game, or this inning continues, I should say, Coach Walsh having to return some of the gear he's been collecting over in the first base coaches area. So Bonvino with the second double of this second inning. She drives in her third run of the playoffs. And Shannon Cormier takes a look at ball 1. Cormier reached on a fielder's choice, another key play in this inning. And now taps one to second base. It's handled by Murphy. She throws to first. And finally, the bottom of the second inning comes to an end, but not before Milford sends 13 batters to the plate. They score 9 runs. And of course, the big blow of the frame, a grand slam from the senior captain, Maggie Farrell. And it is a 10-1 Milford lead now as we head to the third inning on this playoff coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. This Milford offense proving once again that you cannot give them extra outs to work with or they will hurt you in a big way. The error in the pitcher circle by Norwood proving to be a big play. Also the ground ball to shortstop, where Cormier was able to beat out the throw after Siobhan Reen had a brief lapse in focus with the runner crossing in front. Both of those plays ended up opening up the floodgates for a 9-run Milford rally. They now sit in front in this game 10-1. As Delia Bartuca takes her first at bat of this playoff game. Down 0-2 as Allie Atherton now has a 9-run cushion. Here's her 0-2 pitch, and it's swung on and missed. And an opportunity now for Allie to pitch a little bit more free and easy with the big lead. course, Milford has to continue to stay focused, knowing that this is a team who did put up 13 runs against one of the better seeds in this playoff tournament in Walpole a couple of days ago. And Atherton narrowly missing the strike zone with the first pitch into Bryn Garzinski. She led off this game with a single, then stole second base, and eventually came around to score on a Milford error. She now lines this ball out to center field, and Garzinski 2 for 2. Norwood able to get the first run of the game to take a lead. Milford able to tie it in the bottom of the first, and then scoring 9 times in the bottom of the second. And Norwood with a 1-out base runner. Garzinski at first base, and now Emma Maturo at the plate. She struck out looking against Atherton her first time. Takes the first pitch outside and low. As usual, the right field side of the Milford softball field is the place to be for the fans as the runner takes off for second base. The throw down, a close one. Again, tailing just a bit out of the hand of Hartman, but a close play. Pierre Gustavo unable to get the tag down, so Garzinski comes through with her second stolen base. Catchers in baseball usually have the stigma of not being as fleet of foot as some of the other positions, but that is not the case in softball. Garzinski certainly proving that with a couple of stolen bases and operating out of the leadoff spot in the batting order as the Norwood catcher. Two balls and 1 strike as Maturo's at bat continues. Batting now with a runner in scoring position. And a swing and a miss. Trying to chase that pitch that may have been off the outside part of the plate. The Norwood bench standing again. The bench players had been sent to their seats after that big Milford offensive rally in the second. As this ball is now tapped towards third base. That's a fair ball. It's in and out of the glove of DeCapua, and she has no play. DeCapua trying to make the catch. But again, just tricky field conditions, tricky to keep your footing. And it would have been hard to even make the throw to first base had DeCapua played that cleanly. We'll put it in the books as an infield single for now. As now this ball is sent foul. Jess Tomaso with a full head of steam heads right to the edge of the field to play on the right side, but that's a foul ball. Norwood trying to pull themselves off the mat here, getting a couple of runners on with 1 out in the third. With a big hill to climb. But with one of their better hitters at the plate in Siobhan Reen. Sends one right back to the circle. Atherton will get the out at first base. And she wipes the pitching hand dry on her uniform after the play. I'm sure those conditions were right at the forefront of Atherton's mind, making sure she got the sure out at first base rather than trying to go to either second or third. So Reen retired 1-3. Both runners do advance. So now Garzinski is at third with Maturo at second, and a 2-out chance for Jane Kelleher, who collected a sacrifice bunt her first time up. I doubt she'll be bunting here with 2 outs. Takes the pitch down and in for ball one. Atherton slows the pace just a bit. Now here's her 1-0 pitch. It's sent foul. Kelleher gave Norwood some much-needed insurance with a 2-run single in the 7th inning against Walpole in their last matchup in this postseason. Led to the Lady Mustangs' 13-10 win over Walpole, giving up 10 runs in the playoffs for the 2nd consecutive game here in Milford. Here's a 2-1 pitch. That's waved at and missed. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Norwood with a pair in scoring position. Atherton is ready. Here's the pitch, and it's sent foul to the backstop. Atherton had an easy 2nd inning. She faced 5 batters in the first, only 3 in the second. Facing her 5th batter here in the 3rd, hoping to hold Norwood off the scoreboard as Kelleher lines that ball off towards the parking lot. And it remains a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Addie Hodson waiting on deck. Atherton winds and fires, and that pitch is up and away. Kelleher thinking about it, but was not enticed to swing. And the count now runs full. Atherton again fighting to keep that pitching hand dry. Now ready with the payoff pitch, and it is low for ball 4. So Kelleher hangs tough, eventually works the walk, and now it is Norwood with a bases loaded opportunity. We saw what Milford was able to do with the bases full in the bottom of the 2nd. We'll see what the Lady Mustangs can come up with here before Hodson takes her at bat. She gets a couple of words from her head coach down outside the 3rd base coaches area. Coach Savino talking over strategy. Hodson, a sophomore. There are a lot of underclassmen on this varsity roster, including Emma Maturo, who is a freshman. Maturo, one of the 3 runners on right now for Norwood. With the right-handed batting, Addie Hodson at the plate. Here's the pitch from Atherton, and it's hit hard and foul down the right field line. Plenty of Milford fans here, but we're also continuing to hear some cheers for the Lady Mustangs as well, so some Norwood fans making the trip up here to Milford. A no ball, 1-strike count. As Coach DeVito hands off some new balls to put into play to the home plate umpire. Now set to continue. The 0-1 pitch, and that's a good one. Right at the knees for a called strike 2. Atherton trying to get out of this bases loaded jam. She's ahead of Hodson, 0-2. Here's the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. Atherton gets Hodson swinging for the second time this afternoon. Norwood loads the bases, but they are unable to score. And we will head to the bottom of the third inning. It remains a 10-1 Milford lead over Norwood here on coverage of Milford High School softball on Milford TV. Kate Irwin set to take her third at bat of this quarterfinal round softball matchup. Number 2 seed Milford, number 10 seed Norwood. It is a 10-1 Milford lead. And Irwin takes a look at the first pitch right at the bottom of the strike zone. It was Irwin who reached on the error in the pitcher's circle. That was one of the key plays in the bottom of the second inning. Irwin down in the count here, 0-2. And she's able to get a hold of that one, and she floats it out into shallow center field for a base hit. She got one up in the zone and was able to quickly shoot it out to shallow center. And Irwin on now for the second time. So Milford going back to work. And Emily Pierre-Gustavo takes ball one. And Garzinski quickly shooting up out of the crouch to look Irwin back to first. Pierre-Gustavo sends that one hard and foul off towards the spectators off of right. Pierre-Gustavo doubled in the first inning, came around to score, and then walked and scored in the second. Another fly ball in foul territory down the right field side. That one stayed on the field of play, but neither the first baseman Kelleher nor the right fielder Mulligan able to make a play. And now timeout is called. Pierre-Gustavo steps out of the box with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Now set to resume. Irwin takes off as this ball is swatted towards the left side. It gets under the glove of the third baseman. Now a wild throw to first. And it ends up completely off the field of play. And it looks like now Coach DeVito taking exception with the decision to hold the runners. Appears that Coach DeVito feels that they should award Irwin the plate. And Pierre-Gustavo should be sent to third base. Coach DeVito getting a little animated now as he speaks to both umpires. And the head coach frustrated as he continues now to plead his case with the infield umpire. But the decision will stand. Another error for Norwood, but Milford with runners at second and third now for Maggie Farrell, who added to her illustrious high school career, a career that has been full of big hits in key moments, and getting a grand slam in the playoffs. Another terrific moment. Now she sends this ball out to center. It's down for a hit. It eludes the glove of Shaughnessy, and both runs will come in to score as Farrell stands at second base with a double. That makes it 12-0 in favor of the Lady Scarlet Hawks. So Coach DeVito upset that those runs were unable to score. And they end up coming around just moments later as Maggie Farrell gets it done again. a grand slam, now a 2-run double, so how about 6 runs batted in for the senior captain? And it looks like we will see a pitching change here on the Norwood side as they take the ball out of the hand of Amanda Olbrees. And so Olbrees coming out of the game here. It looks like she'll be replaced by the sophomore Katie Welsh. We'll step aside as Welsh makes her warm-up tosses. It is now an 11-run lead for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, a 12-1 score. And we'll have more in this bottom of the 3rd inning when we come back next on coverage of Milford High School softball on Milford TV. The sophomore Katie Welsh takes over in the pitcher circle with a runner at second base and nobody out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Facing Jess Tomaso. And missing with her first 2 pitches. So Milford able to knock out the Norwood starter after just 2+ innings of work. And now Tomaso rips that ball hard to third base, and it takes a vicious ricochet right off of the third baseman, Delia Bartuca. And Tomaso safe at first base with Farrell at third, but right now the concern squarely for Bartuca at third base, as that was just a vicious line drive that hit square off of Bartuca, and it may have actually hit off of the brace that she is wearing on her right knee. She was able to get right to her feet. Both head coaches, the umpires, and also trainer Jonathan Raskow over in the area, but Bartuca, with a smile on her face, she appears to be fine, so that is certainly a good sign. And the coaches now return to their positions, and as we watch Coach Savino right now talking things over with the home plate umpire, it does appear from what she's saying that the ball hit Bartuca in the chest, that they checked her breathing, and were satisfied with the results. And again, still a smile on Bartuca's face, so quite a tough player over at third base for Norwood. Delia Bartuca taking that vicious line drive, and she will continue in the game. Milford with runners at the corners. There is still no outs in this 3rd inning, as Caitlin DeCapua takes ball 1. So we'll go as a single. Or Jess Tomaso. Now DeCapua sends one hard to shortstop, and again we see the tough field conditions come into play as Reen couldn't make a clean play on the grounder. Another run scores for Milford. They now take a 12-run lead. The errors starting to pile up on the Norwood side. That's 2 more errors in this inning. They've now committed 4 errors in all in the game. A 1-ball, no strike count now on Emily Hartman, who tripled her last time up. She's 1 for 2 with an RBI. And now ahead in the count, 2-0. And now a waving swing and a miss. The ball ended up in the dirt, gathered in by Garzinski. A long time in between pitches for Welsh. Now here's the pitch. And it sent foul off towards third. Katie Welsh, the sophomore, taking over for Amanda Olbrees. Olbrees still responsible for Jess Tomaso. I'll correct that, Tomaso the responsibility of Welsh, so you can officially close the book on the starting pitcher, Amanda Olbrees, who allowed all 13 runs that have come across the plate. The 2 runners on now are the responsibility of the relief pitcher, Katie Welsh. It's a 3-ball, 2-strike count now on Hartman. Here's the payoff, and it's hit hard. That's a fair ball. Travels down into foul territory on the left field side. Tomaso comes in to score the play at third, not in time, as Caitlin DeCapua slides in safely. And another extra base hit for Emily Hartman. She now has a double to go along with the triple, and it has another run batted in as Tomaso scores. Now a 14-0 lead for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. And the courtesy runner now, once again for Hartman. Antonia Bonina with 12 runs scored on the year. And a lot of that work done running in the place of Emily Hartman. So she takes over at second base. DeCapua, the lead runner, at third. And now Kelly Reichert at the plate, looking for her first hit. She did reach on an error her last time up, and she scored a run. Swings at the first pitch here, pops it up in foul ground. And it's the first baseman, Janelle Kelleher, who's able to make the catch, and that is just the first out in this inning. It's the second time today Reichert has popped out to the first base side. Now Maddie Bonvino takes a look at ball one. Maddie's been on base twice. She walked, stole a base, and scored in the second. In her first at-bat in the second inning, I should say. And then in her second at-bat, came through with an RBI double, which brought home the 9th run of Milford's 9-run second inning rally. They've scored 1 run in the first, 9 in the second, and now 4 so far here in the third. As this ball is slapped to short, a diving attempt for Reen, but she can't make the play. DeCapua crosses the plate as Bonvino keeps on going into second base. That ball ended up coming into the plate. That allowed Bonvino to advance. So it should go as an RBI single, taking second on the throw. A second RBI in the game for Maddie Bonvino. And it is now a 15-1 lead. Now Shannon Cormier, she swings at the first pitch and gets it past Reen at short. Once again, Bonina comes in to score. That's all Milford will get. They hold Bonvino at third base. That ball swatted back up the middle for a base hit by Shannon Cormier. She gets her first hit of the game. Everyone in the Milford lineup has at least 1 hit today, with the exception of Kelly Reichert. Cormier with an RBI as Bonina came in to score on that ground ball base hit. And Milford has now batted around for the second straight inning. Kate Irwin led off this inning with a single, came around to score, now up once again. Her 4th at bat in the first 3 innings. as this ball is floated into the glove of the third baseman, Bartuka. Bartuka, no doubt, happy to see that ball coming in with much less velocity than the last one that was hit in her area. So a line out for Irwin brings the second out of the third. Runners at the corners and some sort of delay over on the Milford side. Coach DeVito in a couple of steps. And now set to continue, I should say, as Emily Pierre-Gustavo digs in. Emily's been on base all 3 times she's come to the plate, a double, a walk, and a single. And takes the first pitch low for ball 1. It is a 16-run lead now for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Amazing to think that for a brief period of time, Norwood had the lead in this game. It did not last very long. And it's been all Milford ever since, as now Pierre-Gustavo lines that one past the glove of Murphy, the second baseman. Maddie Bonvino comes in to score. It'll be a double for Pierre-Gustavo. She gets her first run batted in of the playoffs, for these 2017 playoffs. With Bonvino coming in to score, Cormier goes first to third, and the line just keeps on moving. Now Maggie Farrell stands in, taking her second at-bat of this third inning. All Maggie Farrell has done so far today is drive in 6 runs. And now she taps this one slowly back to the circle. It's fielded by Welsh. And they end up getting the out that ends the inning. That is out number 3. The Norwood bench looking for an additional out in the inning, but the out at first for Farrell does end it. But not before Milford puts a 7th spot on the scoreboard. They now lead at 17-1 in this quarterfinal matchup in the MIAA tournament here on Milford TV. Milford now with 17 runs on 15 hits. As Allie Atherton returns to the circle. And judging by the oohs and ahs coming from the student section, that foul ball may have made contact with a vehicle out in the parking lot. A first pitch strike into Kate Mulligan, the number 6 batter, who now sends one foul wide of first base. Atherton continuing to work, and as we take stock of the defensive alignment for Milford, it does remain the same. Keeping all of their starters in place with the 15-run lead. Kate Mulligan grounded out to second base her first time up. Here's the 0-2. She taps it towards the right side. Atherton fields it and shoots it with the glove hand over to first base to get the out. Didn't want to take the time to make the transfer to her throwing hand, so instead made the shuttle toss with the glove. So 1-3 on the ground out. And now we'll see the number 7 spot in the batting order, which is now occupied by Katie Welsh. It is the pitcher spot in the lineup, so Olbrys out, and now Welsh takes her first at bat. Olbrys had been 0 for 1. And now a hard ground ball foul off the chain link in front of the first base dugout. Welsh ended up allowing 4 of the 7 runs that Milford scored in the 3rd inning. Welsh coming in after Olbrys had allowed the first 3 batters of the inning to reach. As the 1-1 pitch misses. Welsh, a right-handed batter. Here's the pitch, and it is swung on and missed. Two balls and 2 strikes, 1 out, and the base is empty. And a wave and a miss, and down goes Welsh. And that is strikeout number 6 for Allie Atherton. She had 2 Ks in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more in the third, and now gets her first strikeout here in the 4th. So with the first 2 batters retired, now Emma Murphy at the plate, and Murphy grounds 1 foul. Murphy, one of the 6 strikeouts that Atherton has raked in so far in the game. Struck out looking to end the 2nd inning. And now that pitch had Murphy backing out, but it caught the inside part of the plate. And now Atherton 1 strikeout away from a 1-2-3 inning. 0-2 is the count on Murphy. The windup and the pitch. And she could not get Murphy to chase. Wind continuing to whip across the field. As this next pitch comes in, a grounder back towards the circle. Atherton fields it, gets the throw to Tomaso at first base in time. Atherton fielding 2 ground balls in the inning, having no problem with the Norwood offense in the 4th. They go 1-2-3, and on to the home half of the inning we go. It is a 17-1 Milford lead on this playoff coverage of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. We move on to the bottom of the 4th. Tim Coet on the call here for Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. It will be the 4, 5, and 6 spots in the Milford batting order. Jess Tomaso, who has collected 3 hits in her 3 at-bats so far in the game. A pair of singles, also a double. She's driven in a run, she's scored 2. As Milford continues to put up video game-like offensive numbers, even now into the postseason. And we now have our first scoring update from down in New Bedford. It is a 1-0 lead for the Greater New Bedford Bears over Milford in the 5th. So it's a low-scoring one there as Tomaso sends this ball out to center field. Fighting the breeze, Caitlin Shaughnessy able to make the catch. And Tomaso is retired for the first time. Again, Anthony Mazzini and Tim Rossetti battling the elements down in New Bedford. As Milford fortunate to be getting their playoff action in today. A lot of schools opting for postponements, but again, there's more bad weather on the way tomorrow. As the first pitch into Tecapua misses outside, it has been such a challenge to get this 2017 spring sports season in. For those of you following along with Milford Athletics all along the way, we had a delay to the start of the season due to some early April snow showers, followed by a lot of rain throughout the early weeks of April, making this Milford softball field unplayable through the early weeks of the season. Milford had the majority of their home games all shifted around on the schedule due to weather postponements. I believe when all was said and done, only 2 of their home games were played out on the dates that they were originally scheduled, as Tecapua hits that one hard, but right to Siobhan Reen at short. She's able to make the catch. And when you think about home games, this may very well be the final home game of the year for Milford. Should they advance to the semifinal round? Should they advance to the semifinal round, we would likely go to neutral site activity for the semifinals and the finals. And that neutral site for Milford's side of the bracket would be Taunton High School. So if this is indeed the final game of the year here at the Milford softball field, they're giving it quite a send-off with 17 runs. Of course, this game not over yet in the bottom of the 4th inning, as we will start to see some pinch hitters now for Coach DeVito, sending Lucy Creedon up in the number 6 spot in the batting order, pinch hitting for Emily Hartman. Creedon, when she's been called upon, has been effective at the plate. 3 hits in 5 at-bats. She's scored 4 runs. She has 4 RBI. Taking over for Hartman, who had been 2 for 3 with a double, a triple, and 2 runs batted in. Now Creedon sends that one under the glove of the shortstop. And this number 6 spot in the order continues to be hot, as now Creedon able to come through with the pinch hit. And now Sabrina Harstick popping out of the dugout. Harstick takes over for Kelly Reichert. Reichert was the only member of the Lady Hawks starting lineup who did not have a hit in this game. A couple of pop-outs, and she also reached on an error. Harstick batting with Lucy Creedon at first base. The Norwood Lady Mustangs coming into this game through regular season and playoffs combined with a 15-5 record. They went 13-5 through the regular season. They won 11 games against their league competition. They actually had a better road record than they had a home record. They went 7-3 at home. They went 8-2 on the road. And that included a win on the road at Walpole High School in round 1 action. An emotional victory for Norwood, that 13-10 win. And no doubt coming in riding a high with a lot of confidence coming into this matchup. As Harstick sends this one on the ground to shortstop, it is mishandled by Siobhan Reen, who has had a regrettable day defensively at shortstop. She has not been able to handle many opportunities cleanly. April Swain now will take an at-bat. A steady diet of pinch hitters now. This is the first time we've seen Swain in game action. Milford adding April Swain and Megan Hart as the season went on to bolster the Lady Hawks bench. Also adding Alexis Karen for the playoffs. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count now for Swain, batting in place of Maddie Bonvino. So we'll see a host of defensive changes when we reach the top of the 5th inning. Milford now with runners at first and second base after Norwood committed their 5th error of the game. So the second game where they've allowed double-digit runs, the second game that they've committed 5 errors. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now to Swain, who lets that pitch go high. Swain replacing Maddie Bonvino, who had an excellent day at the plate. A walk, a double, a single, 2 runs batted in, a pair of runs scored. Another player who shines on the big stage. As that pitch is in for a called strike 3, that will do it in the bottom of the 4th. Milford does not score in the inning, the first inning that they have not produced any offense, but they will carry a 17-1 lead into the top half of the 5th inning, which we will see unfold when we come back next on Milford TV. We'll see a pinch hitter for Norwood as they open up the 5th inning. Katie Silk takes the place of Delia Bartuka as she sees strike 1 from the new Milford pitcher, Kelly Reichert, taking over in the circle this inning. And that does appear to be the only change. Milford sending their starting defensive alignment back out onto the field after Coach DeVito sent up a trio of pinch hitters. We have a couple of updates to bring you from the baseball playoff game in just a moment. This next pitch is swung on and missed, so Katie Silk takes the place of Delia Bartuka, and you have to wonder if maybe she started to feel some soreness after taking that hard line drive from Jess Tomaso earlier in the game. So the good news that we can tell you from New Bedford is that Milford has tied the game at 1. The bad news, Aiden Wild had to leave the game due to injury. He was getting the start in that game, but getting injured, had to be taken out. Nate Irwin is now pitching. So Milford continuing to fight hard, the baseball team in their quarterfinal round matchup against Greater New Bedford Voc. But a lot of concern as Milford's star player was forced to leave the game, and not only an integral component on the mound, but also one of the keys to their offense as well, as Katie Silk ends up striking out against Kelly Reichert. And now a called strike 1 as we go back to the top spot in the batting order. Bryn Garzinski, who has had the best day at the plate of any member of this Norwood team, a pair of singles, both of those against Atherton, now facing Reichert for the first time. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's hit on the ground towards second. Bonvino to her right, able to make the play, and a good throw to first. Good rangy play for Bonvino. And again, on this slick infield, was able to make the play without a problem. And it's 2 up and 2 down for Kelly Reichert, pitching now her 2nd inning in the playoffs. She came in relief of Atherton against Plymouth North on Friday, pitched a 1-2-3 scoreless 7th inning, now coming in here in the 5th. Getting the first 2 outs and now dealing strike 1 to Emma Maturo. Turo flying that ball down to left field in foul territory, landing just behind Milford TV Executive Director Rob O'Keefe, positioned down the third base line. Nothing in 2 is the count. Reichert's next pitch, and that's down and away. The Milford fans and the Milford bench continuing to cheer hard. Reichert's 1-2 pitch, and that bounces in, ricochets away from Hartman. Maturo struck out looking in the first, but then grabbed her first hit in the playoffs. Or I should say her first hit this afternoon in this playoff game. An infield single in the third inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch now, and another foul ball. Maturo, as we mentioned, a freshman getting into the varsity roster and into the starting lineup for Norwood. So promising young talent. She digs back in on the left side with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Here's the pitch, and it's hit hard on the ground to shortstop. It's played there by Pierre Gustavo. She throws to first, and that ground out will end the inning here in the 5th. Kelly Reichert able to knock them down 1, 2, 3, and as we see the dugouts spill out onto the field of play, it will be a Mercy Rule shortened playoff game here this afternoon. A 17-1 victory, as it turns out, for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. They trailed this game 1-0 after the top of the first inning. They were quickly able to tie it, and then a 9-run explosion with Maggie Farrell providing the highlight reel play with a grand slam as part of that second inning. And Milford ultimately could not be stopped at the plate today. And in 5 innings, they defeat Norwood by a score of 17-1. Norwood now eliminated from the playoffs, and Milford will advance to the semifinals of the Division I South bracket. And so a tremendous performance for Milford here today, and as the field continues to get whittled down in this D1 South bracket, we'll await to see Milford's next opponent. They will face the winner of a matchup between Hopkinton and Somerset Berkeley. That game was scheduled to take place at 3:30 this afternoon. I do not know if that game was postponed. So we will wait to see the outcome of that game. So Milford will either face their neighboring rival Hopkinton, or it will be Somerset Berkeley. But one thing is for sure, Milford moving on to the semifinal round of the MIAA playoffs. So that will wrap up our coverage here for today. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew braving the elements for the game this afternoon, our director, John Giacomuzzi, and our cameraman, Rob O'Keefe. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 17-1. Milford with the Mercy Rule win in the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody. All right, Maggie Farrell, 17 runs for your team in the game today, but 4 of them off of your bat, a grand slam in the playoffs. How did that feel for you?
That felt great. We were actually just talking in practice yesterday, I think. We were like, Marge, when's the last time you've hit one out? And it was Silver Lake, like sophomore year. So it was a great feeling, especially in the playoffs. It was really nice.
We've covered a lot of games in your high school career, and it seems like you have a tendency to come through in those big moments like that. What does that feel like for you when you get up to the plate in a crucial moment in a crucial game like this? What goes through your mind?
I just think that I need to get a hit. I picture just batting practice, me, the ball. But it's a great feeling, especially in these games. It's great.
You guys trailed by a run after the first inning. Norwood able to get on the scoreboard. How different was the mindset for you guys trailing early in the game?
Once that happened, I honestly think we were all like, we got to step it up right now and just step on them now.
Semifinals coming up next. It's the first time you guys have made it to the semifinals now in your varsity career. How excited are you to move on to this stage in the playoffs?
I'm so excited. I can't wait for this to keep going.
Okay, Allie, another huge win for the team here today. It got a little easy for you after those early innings, but still you held them to just the one run. How did you feel out there on the circle?
I felt very confident today, even when the bases were loaded. I don't know, there was something about how we were playing. I wasn't worried at all. I think we all fielded our positions pretty well. We didn't really have a lot of errors, so I was feeling good all day.
They were able to get to you just a little bit there. They only had the one hit in the first inning, then the error. They got the run across. What were they doing against you to have that success in the first inning?
I mean, that first hit, I missed my spot. That was it. The ball was right over the plate. That was my bad. And then the error, that's going to happen every day. I mean, there's always errors. It's going to happen. You just have to deal with it.
It's not usual to experience these kind of field conditions, this kind of cold weather for a June playoff game. How difficult was it for you guys working with these kind of conditions?
I was actually saying that before the game, that it feels like April. It doesn't feel like June at all. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it hasn't been that nice all year, so we're kind of used to it by now, I think. It's not like we live in Florida or anything. This happens all the time.
You're making it to the semifinal round of the playoffs for the first time in your varsity career. How does that feel?
It's crazy. We were talking about it over there. We're all so happy, but we can't let it get to our head. We have to stay grounded. We have to do what we have to do. And, yeah, it's exciting, but, I mean, I think that we should be there. We've worked so hard. We just have to come out and play our game.
Awesome. Congratulations, Allie.
Thank you. Thank you.